ladies and gentlemen, welcome in here. Murder Church on the air. Sunday morning, we're going to continue looking at Dr. Harry Kropp, forensic psychologist testimony in the penalty phase. We're still getting close to finishing this thing up. Got an hour and a half to start off with here, and we'll see where we're at after that. Welcome in. Thanks, everybody. Good morning.
I get my hair out of my face while I'm doing this.
I know I was raped, but you weren't nothing but a bunch of stuff.
Therefore, these proceedings are now
Putting somebody who was raped.
Let's rock.
Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Sunday. We're doing it. We're here. Rocking and a rolling. I need to change the chat. Need to fix this actually right now. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. We're still doing the damn thing. New start time here. As official. 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Makes it a little bit easier with my Saturday night stream. And yeah, works out. Gotta fix the Botrix chat. Boom, boom. Usually after I fix it, after I've already gone live, it takes a minute to kick on, but we shall see. But welcome in here, everybody. Come hang out for a few. Like I said, we're going to be finishing what we were watching last Sunday. Got about an hour and a half left on that. Glad everybody's come in here. Let me check out this, though, so I can at least see who all's in here. So we got a lot of beautiful people hanging out already this morning. That's cool. Whoa. Let me get this over here. Boom, and I'll pop them up. There's the chat. Chat's waking up. Then here we got this. Boom, Pokemon. Shelly, what's up? Simi, good morning. Just a Crazy Jen. Leah. Bassett Page. Love to see it. Love to see it. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you. Come on in. Take a seat. Yeah, we're doing the damn thing. We'll be here for just a little while. Will is in play. If anybody is interested in getting on a will, you know how to do so. All the apps are open. Any kind of donation comes through. You get on a will for a spin. Things coming this week. Got another body cam show for Tuesday. Got the book club coming up. Still working on Mindhunter. Still got about 6 hours or so left of that book. Only way to be in book club is, of course, to become a member here as well. Every Tuesday after the Tuesday show, we all get together and listen to it live on Audible. Mosh, good morning, man. Morning. Hope you're having a good weekend, too. Hope you're having a good one this morning. I'm going to sing to you this morning. Y'all didn't realize you're coming for a show. Bringing it to you. Yeah, let's do it. Let's jump in here. Let's see what's rocking and rolling. I got to go fix some coffee. I do know that much. Let's go here. Hold on. Got to fix this. Got to get the sound going. I also need to do the bells, right? Did I do the bells? No, I didn't. Church bells. Church bells really start the morning. Tina, morning. Tina, good morning. Simi's like, yo, hit them hearts on the side. Hit them hearts on the side. That does help. She ain't lying. It does help. Get over there. Smash them hearts. Smash the like, smash the hearts, smash the share. Smash whoever's in front of you right in the face today if you go out they bother you. All right, let's rock and roll, guys. Again, I'm going to go make some freaking coffee. I'm struggling this morning. Struggling a little bit. I'll tell you what.
Effect of this type of background on someone in their adolescence?
typically when a child is sexually abused,
that person becomes more vulnerable to further sexual abuse.
I want to make some coffee, guys.
Begins
I got you in
exhibiting
my
various
head,
types
got you in
of
my
emotional
ears.
indicators of that victimization.
Earbuds in.
Lee never received any treatment for sexual abuse, so she also did not receive the support from her environment, from her parents. And although the symptoms are often mixed with individuals who have been sexually abused, two of the most common sexual abuse manifestations are either hyposexuality, that is an individual who views sex in an aversive way and tends to withdraw from sexual experiences, or hypersexuality, a person who can become promiscuous and who essentially becomes involved sexually as her means of gaining attention and gratification, emotional gratification from another individual, which apparently is the route that Ms. Wuornos took.
After she left home, after the age of 15, how did she survive? You indicated she was sleeping in abandoned cars, but how was she surviving? What was she doing for a living?
She essentially survived on a day-to-day basis, sometimes in abandoned cars, sometimes she would go and ask relatives to take her in, sometimes she would go to friends and try and get them to take her in. She began, as she was getting older, again, someone, and I don't recall exactly how old she was, I believe when she was about 17, offered her money for the first time for a sexual experience. And at that point in time, she had eventually developed the tendency to start getting money through sexual favors. And of course, there was a period of, she went through a period of intermittent prostitution after that period of time, and then essentially became a full-time prostitute somewhere in 1984, I believe.
You spoke of self-mutilating, self-injurious behavior that folks suffering from an antisocial personality disorder exhibit. Any evidence of that in Ms. Wuornos' case?
She described a suicide attempt in 1977 when she shot herself, I believe, in the stomach. And then she described other incidents of suicide thinking or suicide gestures or suicide attempts, but I did not get the impression that she actually ever tried to commit suicide on any other occasion other than 1977. There was an incident in 1981, I believe it was, when she seriously considered shooting herself, basically because she had broken up with a boyfriend or he had broken up with her, and she was extremely disturbed and on the one hand felt again this intense rejection which borderlines feel, and again the way they deal with it is rather than change their behavior to try and allow the other person to get close to them or maybe change some of the behaviors that will reinforce the relationship, they exhibit all these unhealthy type of behaviors, the pushing the people away, the primitive type of coping that I referred to.
The first incident you spoke of is when she shot herself in the stomach.
As far as I know.
And have you had access to the hospital records on that?
I don't recall.
Were you able also to review documentation and a mental health report regarding the robbery on which Ms. Wuornos was convicted?
Yes.
What were the circumstances of that, as you understand it?
As I understand them, she had, this is the situation that I was referring to a little while ago, in which she had had a conflict with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend had rejected her, and she was thinking in terms of killing herself. She had a gun, she was drinking, she took drugs, and basically was on her way to kill herself or somehow get attention from her boyfriend that she was suicidal. In the process...
Excuse me, Your Honor, for clarity, may the witness indicate the source of this information?
You can do that on the cross, sir.
Yes, sir.
You reviewed the psychiatrist's report regarding the prior robbery.
It was Dr. Barnard's report, I believe, in 1981, in which he described her description, and her description to me was very consistent with what she described to Dr. Barnard.
And you reviewed documents from the court file regarding the prior robbery?
Yes, I believe there was pre-sentence investigation, which also described that situation.
That was a report to the judge, a pre-sentence investigation report.
Correct.
And Ms. Wuornos entered a plea of guilty in that prior robbery.
Yes.
And from those documents and from your other information that you reviewed and reviewing materials from other experts, what is your understanding?
Of that incident?
Yeah.
Her perception of what happened was that she went into this store.
When you
I
say
believe-
the store, what store?
I believe it was a convenience store.
And what was she wearing?
I'm not sure. I don't have that written down what she was wearing. She indicated to me that she had consumed a case of beer, a half a pint of liquor, and 4 Librium, and went in, and I'm not sure what she intended to purchase, possibly more beer, but she indicated that she did not go in there with the intention of robbing it. Put her purse on the counter. The gun was in the purse. The convenience store clerk, for obvious reasons, got scared. At that point in time, Lee indicates that she realized that maybe this is a way of showing how much she needed the attention of her boyfriend. So she then said, "Give me the money," and basically took the money. I'm not sure exactly how much, but she was apprehended by police officers shortly after that.
Do you recall Dr. Bernard's report in the PSI indicating that she was wearing a G-string?
Yes, she was on her, should have remembered that. And she was on her way, I believe, to the beach, and when that happened.
What was her relationship with Mark, with the boy she was seeing at the time, as far as you can understand it?
Lee just describes it as a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, from what I can recall.
And you indicated that the relationship fell apart.
Yes.
What happened to her after that?
I believe after that, of course, she got involved in two gay relationships subsequent to that. I believe both of them were subsequent. I'm not totally sure. I know one was the most recent one with Ty. But essentially, from that point on, again, she was out in the streets and on the road, and did a lot of prostitution, at least from about '84 on.
Tell us about the first one, the one with Tony. How did that come about? What were the circumstances of that? What is your understanding of that whole relationship?
Well, my understanding, again, as is typical of a borderline, it was a very intense relationship. I believe it lasted a couple of years, and it was one of these relationships in which, on the one hand, Lee describes how much she loved her and how close they were and how much they needed each other. At the same time, she described an abusive, unhealthy, dysfunctional relationship.
In what sense?
In terms of there was physical confrontation between the two of them, and I do not have all the facts of that particular incident other than to suggest that Lee has indicated that, again, it was a real unhealthy, she doesn't use the term unhealthy or dysfunctional, but the way she describes the intensity of it, sometimes the physical assaultiveness between the two of them, it was a very unhealthy and dysfunctional relationship, as has all of Lee's relationships been.
Is there any evidence that Lee was abusive to Tony?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
What happened to that relationship?
Well, it broke up. And again, I'm not sure of all the details of how that happened.
Then what happened?
Well, as I indicated, at that point in time, Lee pretty much drifted and was involved in various relationships, short-term relationships, spent a lot of time on the road, spent a lot of time in terms of very short-term relationships, being picked up by men, and getting involved in prostitution as a livelihood.
What was the situation with Tyree Muller?
Well, she was involved with Ty for about 4 years, essentially, from what I can gather. I guess the best way to describe it again is very intense. I think the interesting thing from Lee's perspective is that although she certainly admits that it was a lesbian gay relationship, that there was a sexual relationship, she also indicated that Ty was her best friend and that she was Ty's best friend. And that for the last 2 to 2.5 years, there was minimal sexual involvement, and they essentially were involved in an extremely close relationship. They both worked in one capacity or another. They both contributed to the relationship in terms of money, although Lee would bring home more through her work than Ty. But again, it was just one of these very emotionally charged relationships. There was jealousy on the part of Ty. Ty had difficulty accepting the fact that Lee was involved with other men, but basically came to accept it as, again, a livelihood. She would not accept if Lee were to get involved with any other men in an emotional relationship, but somehow was able to accept the prostitution, apparently.
Is there any explanation that you can provide us for Lee's engaging in these relationships with the two women? What's that all about?
Well, again, that's typical of a borderline. There's identity conflicts. Sex has been a major theme throughout Lee's life. Again, based to some degree on the victimization, to some degree on some rebelliousness on her part in terms of her father. And primarily, Lee was able to gain attention and affection through sexual relationships. Now, the relationship, again, with the two women, Lee considers herself bisexual. She indicates that these are the only 2 gay relationships that she's been in, and she indicates that she loves men and enjoys being with men. But in terms of an intense live-in relationship, the women apparently satisfied her emotional needs better.
Any reason for that you've been able to ascertain?
Not really. She was married for a very brief period of time. Again, she married somebody who, again, I think most people would view as a
I've been listening, though.
relationship.
It's pretty interesting.
He was in his late 60s or early
Joe?
70s.
What's up, dude?
That relationship lasted about a month.
Welcome in, man.
And Lee admits that she was involved with him for security, thinking maybe this man would sort of take care of her as a father figure. He was able, according to her, she might be able to stop working.
Mandy came in.
He
Holy shit.
might
What's
be
up,
able to take
Mandy?
care of her financially.
You're doing good.
But again, as in most borderlines, once they get into a relationship, it becomes extremely dysfunctional.
And in her adulthood,
Gotta make
she
some coffee.
began, well, throughout her adulthood, she drank.
Yes.
You know? You, in fact, did you make any findings regarding her alcohol dependency?
There we go. Shit, Bassett Page starting us out hot. Gift out a membership. Let's go. Shattered Dimensions getting one. Get it, get it, get it. Brooklyn, boom. Shattered Dimensions. You can now get into the book club every Tuesday night following the regular show. Book club. We're currently reading Mindhunter. We're on our second book, and we get together every Tuesday night, and we listen to it at one chapter through Audible. We usually hang out for about 30 minutes to an hour. Please come through. And thank you so much, Bassett Page. I appreciate that. And they get you on the wheel. We are still building here. Where's it at? So Jay got some goodies. I think Jen, if you haven't got your shirt, you should be getting your shirt here soon. But page. Let me get you on there. Hooking up some fine folks into the Buzz Nation here. I think we're at 8 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Hell yeah. That's what we doing. Hell yes in the chat. 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 All right.
From a diagnostic standpoint, I would say she certainly drank sufficiently, and it had a significant influence on her life so that she would be diagnosed
Should be soon.
as
I actually made and ordered a shirt. I've been watching, I about said I've been watching old wrestling. I always watch old wrestling, but there's this old wrestling show. I'm watching ECW on Saturday nights, and there's this wrestler named the Sandman who's about to become a cigarette smoking, beer chugging, cane swinging maniac, and he's the man. And I've always wanted a shirt that basically it's like him, but like a redone Budweiser logo, and the back says "Pop one open, light one up, and let's get extreme." And I made that myself through the shirts. I'm excited. Oh, you guys give no fucks about Jesse Charles, member for 25 months. Boom! And thank you for coming through the replay cruise. I appreciate that, Jesse. It really helps us out here. And I hope that you check out the book clubs. Those are really cool.
alcohol dependent. I think that probably what's most important about the alcohol was how it interacted with other aspects of her life, that was, again, one of her primitive means of coping. The borderline typically finds not all borderlines drink, not all borderlines use drugs, not all sex abuse victims drink or use drugs, but that was her means of coping with life, drinking, developing these unhealthy relationships in order to try and get accepted by others. And of course, again, her hypersexuality was her means of being accepted.
You indicated that one of the characteristics of the person suffering from a borderline personality disorder is impulsiveness in at least two areas that are damaging to oneself.
Yes.
Is Lee impulsive?
Lee's very impulsive. Lee has demonstrated her impulsiveness in terms of just since her incarceration. During my evaluation, there must have been 3 or 4 times when she pretty much jumped up and wanted to stop the interview. I was able to encourage her to continue. I was supportive of her. We gave her enough time to sort of pull it together and continue her relationship, continue her discussions. But her impulsivity, in terms of her past history, both in terms of the depositions that I have reviewed and the various
awesome, Bassett.
Investigative reports that would suggest that this woman has been impulsive most of her life.
Does she have an impaired judgment?
Certainly at times.
Does she have a lack of insight?
Absolutely.
Give us some examples of that.
I would say that if either a professional or a non-professional asked Lee whether she was disturbed emotionally, whether she had serious psychological problems, I would say she'd probably say no. I would say that she would indicate that it's society that is basically blaming her, that society doesn't listen to her, that society doesn't understand her. She sees, and in fact, one of the reasons why she's resistant to really being evaluated, although obviously she understood the purpose and she knew that it was important for her to cooperate, but she just does not view herself as being a disturbed person.
Is that common among disturbed individuals, particularly with a borderline personality disorder?
Generally speaking, yes. They can, after the fact, take a look at their behavior and say, why did I do that? That was stupid. Why did I do that? It caused her to not like me or him not like me. But oftentimes they will then revert back to the same maladaptive behavior and interactional patterns. And
you indicated that, not in these words, but that she's emotionally labile.
Extremely.
What is that? Define that for us. Tell us what that means.
It's an individual who will shift from one mood state to another most of the time without any obvious provocation. A person can be feeling okay about things, and with the slightest stimulus, this person will become either extremely depressed from being happy or extremely loud, could become belligerent, could become demanding, could become manipulative. All of these mood shifts. I guess the way the cousin described the grandfather as a Jekyll and Hyde, I think, to a common sense kind of thing, it's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of scenario.
Has Lee withdrawn? You indicated that one of the criteria was that Lee suffers from chronic feelings of emptiness or boredom. What is the emptiness about? As a clinician, what does that mean? How's that reflected in Lee's case?
I think we all strive for some degree of satisfaction, for some degree of gratification in life. Some of us get it from our profession, some of us get it from family, some of us get it from friends, some of us hopefully get it from all of those. Lee never felt a sense of that. She probably would admit or indicate that she got that from her relationship with Ty, or that she got it even from her relationship with men that she got picked up by.
Did you talk to her about those types of incidents?
Lee described her prostitution both as a livelihood and also,
I'm salty.
in a lesser
Morning.
extent, as a way of developing
doing?
relationships, as a way of being with people. She would talk about individuals who would pick her up that she would not have sex with, who she would
Teresa.
spend time just talking to, holding hands, basically dating. One of the individuals that I spoke to indicated that Lee had picked him up during this time period that we're talking about, and indicated that he spent 5 days with her in Tennessee and Kentucky or South Carolina, I believe, spent the night with her on 4 different occasions, spent 5 days. They never engaged in sexual activity. He indicated that he had a lot of money on him. She wouldn't take money even for lunch. She wouldn't let him buy her lunch, and that she was very supportive, and that he was physically ill. She made sure, in fact, he said she nagged him about taking his blood pressure medication. So apparently she is capable of having these relationships for brief periods of time, and used her prostitution as a means of being befriended by people or befriending others.
What happened with that individual?
After 5 days, she went on her way, and he went on his way, and she eventually came back to Florida, I presume,
And they were staying together?
for 5 days. Yes.
Where were they staying, you know?
In terms of
Not location, but what, was it on the road? Was it at his home? Was it?
motels.
You also talked a little bit about cerebral dysfunction, and you indicated there is evidence of that.
I have
in
cerebral
these cases.
dysfunction for sure.
From the testing that I reviewed, there appears to be what we call soft signs of brain damage, cerebral dysfunction. Not to the extent that she's not responsible or capable of functioning in an everyday kind of situation, but when we see these types of what we used to call minimal brain damage, basically there are certain characteristics that are fairly common among these individuals. The poor impulse control, impaired judgment, poor coping, low frustration tolerance. Her intellectual testing, which has been done by both Dr. Bordini and Dr. McMahon, and then also in the school records, indicate that there is a
Yo, Paige, thanks for the share. Appreciate that. Seeking Justice with a share ski. Appreciate it, guys.
significant difference between the 2 general areas of intelligence, which we refer to as verbal and nonverbal. Her nonverbal skills, performance, ability to work with her hands was very high. It was above average, whereas on the other hand, her verbal abilities, and we're not talking about talking, but things that are related to certain parts of the brain, were much lower, significantly lower, which either is the result of the cerebral dysfunction or could be explained by some type of learning disability, which may have contributed to some of her academic problems. But all of that suggests that this is a person who would have difficulty coping, would get frustrated easily, and certainly may have been a contributor to the borderline personality disorder. I don't know that. But certainly that interaction she's got 2 strikes against her when you look at the personality.
Oh, Shelley, thank you for the
disorder
share.
and
Just saw yours also.
dysfunction in terms of the way she copes with stress.
The verbal aspect of the intelligence testing that you spoke about, that deals with things like comprehension, reasoning, concept formulation.
Exactly. Abstract thinking, judgment, ability to assess the situation and the consequences of that situation.
And those are the things that are impaired
Yes.
in Ms. Wuornos' case.
Yes.
That split between the verbal and performance ability, that was spotted by the schools, was it not?
Yes.
It's in her school record,
Yes, it is.
and it's consistent with the current test.
Yes.
Dr. Bordini gave something to Ms. Wuornos called a Holstead-Raytan battery, and that had an impairment index of 0.7. Is that an impairment when you have an index at that level?
Yes.
Go ahead, Norman.
Yes, sir.
The disorders referenced in the DSM-3R, the manual that clinicians use, particularly the personality disorders, are all of those the product of a genetic component and/or environment?
There's only one way to get ungrade, Leah. You gotta join the book club, which is becoming a member here at the Buzz Nation. I think any level gets you in the book club, and you would not be gray anymore. I'm just saying.
Likely. Again, we can't say for sure what causes certain kinds of behavior disorders, but
I love my
research
gray
generally
people,
shows
too.
It's a combination of the two.
Ain't a race war up in here.
Yes, sir.
The grays. Y'all are a bunch of
The
aliens.
school record that you testified about, that
They're my
indicated-
grays.
spoke to her impairment, said moral values, concern for her family's hurt contribute to her guilt feelings. Is that
Oh,
something
Lord, I
that
stayed
is
up too late,
common
man.
for children raised in a dysfunctional family?
Sure.
In what sense?
Got to get up early yesterday.
Well,
Left the
and it's very common
garage.
with
Oh,
victims.
actually, Murder Church, yeah, will probably be canceled next week. I'm going on a trip next Saturday to a wrestling show. I told you guys that, actually. So I won't be back till probably Sunday sometime. I should be able to do the wrestling stream that night, but I don't think Murder Church will happen next Sunday.
Of sexual abuse, in the sense that because the person is relatively young and is taught by family and parents to respect authority and respect parents, and the parents know what's right, once you're involved in a dysfunctional kind of situation, you essentially,
I'm
if
just
things
messing
don't
with you,
go right,
Leo.
you take on that responsibility yourself.
You're
You tend
always
to
here.
blame
You're one of the
yourself for
G's,
the
honestly. You've been hanging out with me for a long ass time. I bet it's been, if you did have one of the badges, I bet it'd be a long ass time. No, you're awesome. Always killing it.
problems within the family. It's one of the things we need to do in therapy with victims, is to try and make sure that they realize that they're not at fault for the dysfunctional family. They didn't bring themselves into that family situation.
Putting aside any issues of direct abuse involving Ms. Wuornos, throwing those out for a moment, was the family still dysfunctional?
Oh, yes.
And was that a dysfunction that would affect someone?
I would expect so, yes.
The report that we're talking about is a school report from 1970 that was prepared by mental health folks and relating to Ms. Wuornos. Also indicates the outstanding feature of Lee was a remarkable concern for strong family ties. What's that all about?
Wishful thinking, essentially, on her part. When I talked before about the lack of gratification in her life and the loneliness.
6
and
months
so
of
forth,
bliss!
I believe Lee still has a fantasy of being part of a family, of being part of a healthy family. And we
Thanks
all
for always hanging out,
love,
Liv.
people that love us. And Lee was always striving for that.
It is vital for this girl's welfare that she receive counseling immediately. Do you recall that to be the concluding line of the report?
Yes.
Did she receive the counseling?
No, her mother apparently did not give her permission or follow up with that recommendation.
To this day, has she received that counseling?
No.
The report also indicates that use of a mild tranquilizer was unsuccessful in improving behavior. Well, why would the schools prescribe a mild tranquilizer?
I would presume, because I don't have the direct report of whoever prescribed it, but I would presume that her anxiety and agitation and poor impulse control resulted in a referral, at least to a nurse or to a medical doctor, who apparently attempted to alleviate some of this anxiety through some type of sedative drug.
And her anxiety, poor impulse control, agitation, you see all of that here, don't you?
Yes.
Sitting before you today, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
You want to see the break?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that they were going to call another mental health care expert, so we're ready to continue or whatever.
Why don't we take a break, Judge, and we'll all talk and see where we are.
You ready to complete cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor, I determined to, in light of his testimony, to just go without the transcript. I don't see any significant difference. Please report. Melissa. Good morning. Dr. Kropp, did I just attempt to manipulate you?
I'm not aware of it.
Simply a greeting, right?
Yes.
Psychologists sometimes disagree, don't they?
On manipulation?
On a lot of things.
Some do, yes.
Diagnoses, for instance.
I would say in the past there was more likelihood of differing on diagnosis because of the lack of objective criteria, but certainly there is certainly much more agreement since the DSM-3 and DSM-4
my camera. I was like, no!
Formulated.
My camera hasn't done that in a long time.
See if I can get it.
Are you familiar with this book entitled Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 3rd edition, revised?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. Since this book and its predecessors came out, psychologists have agreed a lot more because they're following the criteria of the book, right?
Correct.
Before that, they're kind of left out there to fashion their own diagnosis from whatever other sources were available.
More so, yes.
You're following the first DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, came out?
The year?
Yes,
No, I'm not.
approximately.
I really don't know.
Before you
It
started
was before I
practicing?
started practicing psychology.
Okay. How about the 2nd edition?
I'm not sure of that either.
What edition was in vogue when you took it out?
The DSM-2 for a few years, and then the DSM-3 pretty much when I was in graduate school was the one we relied on, and then the DSM-3
Got smart as fuck.
in the last several years.
Why didn't they call it DSM-4?
There is a DSM-4 that is, I believe, coming out soon.
Okay, so there's a revision between the 3 and the 4. That's why they call this the R.
Most likely.
Okay. And as this book grows and changes and the criteria change, so will the diagnoses and the titles, right?
In some cases, yes.
And criteria for the diagnoses.
In some cases.
I mean, this really is basically, I guess, in the field of diagnostics for a psychologist, and I don't mean to be irreverent, but really the professional Bible.
In a sense, yes.
You indicated that before, 1984? Before the DSM-3 came out, there was not even a category called a borderline personality disorder?
Before the DSM-3, not, the borderline was in the DSM-3. Before the DSM-3, there was no diagnostic entity as borderline
AKA the
personality
bitch is
disorder. There were
crazy.
descriptions of the same kind of behaviors, but they were essentially labeled something else.
But you would not have come in here and testified before DSM-3 came along that she was a borderline personality, right?
That's correct.
You called her something else.
Yes.
With regard to the history from her, and you talked to her mother personally?
Did I what?
Talked to her mother personally?
No.
Well, you never talked to her mother, the one that you've been talking about a lot here?
I reviewed investigative reports and I believe from the Volusia County Sheriff's Office who did a taped interview with
An
her.
investigative report from the Volusia County Sheriff's Office?
Whoever the investigator is.
Someone?
Yes.
Okay, but you never talked to that lady?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And as far as the allegations, which you got, I guess, third hand, that Ms. Wuornos' mom was sexually abused, you have no idea whether that's true or not?
That was what she said in that interview that I read.
No, that's what someone told you that she said.
No, I read a transcript.
Okay. But you don't even know who took the interview or who they were talking to, do you?
I could look that up if you want me to.
Look, I'm
You
not
don't know.
actually
You got
listening
something
to the
that you
words that are
read,
coming out of your
right?
mouth, sir.
Sure.
And Ms. Wuornos has indicated to you that she was not sexually abused by her father or grandfather.
Correct.
In fact, this cousin who seemed to know so much about the family, what was his name?
Mr. Latella.
Okay, is he the one that referred to the grandfather as favorite uncle? His favorite uncle? That's why he was over there a lot?
I don't know if he referred to him as his favorite uncle.
With regard to the school records. and
No,
I'm
right now,
referring
this is
to
the state.
report
This is the
she read
major
from
asshole
in the eighth
questioning
grade,
right now.
April 13th of 1970.
But the guy up here, I think that's
It,
from the state.
It begins with the sentence as follows: Aileen Wuornos has concerned school personnel by antisocial behavior.
Yes.
Correct? And it goes on to say, the mother sees Aileen as a temperamental child who dislikes taking direction. Right?
Correct.
Is it unusual to find 13-year-olds that dislike taking direction?
No.
And they go on to talk about the test, said she had a low verbal IQ, kind of a low, dull, but normal.
Yes.
Not outside the normal range.
I believe that her verbal IQs in all of the testing have been on the low average, low
I
normal.
was asking you about this when she was 13. It was not outside the normal range, was it?
Low average, I believe.
Not outside the normal range, though.
Well, see, normal, I'm trying to use what the category is. The category is, normal is a diagnostic or an academic category.
Let me just, without getting...
If you would read me
Yes.
what the IQ is, I can answer your
It
question.
says here, Aileen obtained a verbal IQ 80, comma, low, dull, normal.
Right.
I did
And
do
that's
that.
what the report writer who examined her said, correct?
But you asked me whether that was outside the normal range, and I...
Don't mind. Ring the church bells. I'll go out here and I'll just start banging them church bells. Beating the hell out of them. Beating the hell out of them. Hey, murder church! Wake up the whole damn neighborhood.
I said yes.
But the report writer said it was normal.
No, he did not. Or she did not. She said low normal.
And maybe, may I approach the witness?
Ringing them
Do
bells.
you have a copy of it?
Ringing them,
I
ringing
don't
them,
have it.
ringing them.
Am I misreading this? Does it
Ringing
say
them, ringing them,
verbal
ringing them,
IQ
ringing
80,
them.
comma,
Don't go
low,
fooling
dull,
around. Don't go
That is what it
fooling
says. It does
around.
not say normal.
Don't go fooling around. Ringing it, ringing it,
There is a
ringing it,
difference in
ringing
the
it.
categories of
Your Honor, I don't have a
IQs.
question. I can finish this.
That one's on
Thank you.
mine.
With
Officially.
regard to the IQ performance, 106
Dude.
average,
It's going crazy, son. Huh?
right?
It's going
106
crazy,
is
dude.
average,
It's lost his
yes.
mind, folks. It's got his mind everywhere. Where's it go?
And
Hell yeah.
indicated she had a
We don't
well-developed
know anymore,
superego,
bitch. Fuck you, bitch. We're coming
Correct.
through. Dr. Harris.
Yes.
All right.
but she had guilt feelings about her family.
That's what it said, yes.
I think this is the state's witness. I think this guy
Great
came up to
concern
try to
about
help
moral
her.
values and concerns for the
He's
families,
on cross right now.
concern for her family.
As he was
correct?
being interviewed by
That's what it
her
Reactions
child-looking
for a 13-year-old learner?
defense attorney.
Yes.
With regard to
I don't
her
think this is his witness.
choice of prostitution and her promiscuity, has been virtually a chosen way of life for her during her adult years, has it not?
Yes, it has.
She's free to choose otherwise, correct?
That is correct.
She can work like most folks and earn a living at a job that's lawful, could be.
She could have, yes.
But she learned very early that 75 cents an hour versus $60 to $100 a trick made prostitution more appetizing for her.
I can't say that that's the motivation, but she certainly learned that that is one way to make a living.
Then she shot herself in the stomach in 1981 because she's upset over her boyfriend.
I don't believe she shot herself in the stomach in
I'm sorry,
1981.
1977.
Yes. Yes.
So she's upset over her boyfriend.
I don't remember the circumstances. The 1981 incident is when she was upset about the boyfriend, when she was involved in the convenience store incident. 1977, I'm not sure what the details are in terms of when she shot herself in the stomach that required surgery.
But you were aware that was because she's upset about her boyfriend.
Yes,
Different boyfriends?
apparently.
Yeah, we're still in the
Doesn't do much
penalty
better with
phase.
girlfriends, does she? With regard
We
to
are
her
heading
erratic
towards
behavior.
her being sentenced.
correct.
here, or not yeah, maybe
Part
the
of
sentence is
the
on here.
circumstances of the robbery, you read parts of the pre-sentence investigation report. They pretty well reflected her version of the facts, right?
That's correct.
Did you read the victim's version of the facts?
Yes.
You didn't read them in the courtroom to the jury, though.
Objection, Your Honor.
I wasn't asked to.
Just ask a question.
Did you read them in the courtroom to the jury?
No.
Objection, Your Honor.
You recall that in the report, do you have a PSI report there?
Yes.
Okay. You don't need to pick it up, but if you think I'm wrong, then correct me, please. Elizabeth Smith, the manager of the Magic Market and clerk on the afternoon of the robbery, stated the defendant entered the store, did not appear to be intoxicated, and appeared to know exactly what she's doing. She pulled a gun and stated, "Would you believe this is an armed robbery?" The defendant was not in a hurry. She put her hand in the cash register and refused to take the change, but just the paper money. Elizabeth Smith stated that in a situation like this, a situation like she was in, you never know what the person holding the gun is going to do. And there's a great deal of fear. That was Elizabeth Smith's view of the robbery. Right?
That's correct.
And no apparent evidence of intoxication,
According to a lay witness, that's correct.
according to the victim.
Yes.
But Aileen Wuornos would say she was drunk, so it wasn't her fault.
I don't know if Ms. Wuornos ever told me that it wasn't her fault.
Well, she indicated she'd been drinking an awful lot, right?
She did, that's
And
correct.
and she did it because she broke up with her boyfriend.
That was a motivator, according to her, yes.
Okay. Now, we have two reasons for the robbery. One is she was drinking a lot, and number two, she broke up with her boyfriend. Did she give any other reason?
She never told me that the reason for doing it was because she was drinking a lot. She just indicated to me that she was drinking a lot. She indicated that the robbery was something that was not planned when she went in there, but once she went in there, she had thoughts about this would be a way of demonstrating and getting attention from her boyfriend.
When she talked about this prostitution way of making a life and her girlfriend, Ty Moore, she said Ty didn't like her being a prostitute, did she?
At first.
Yeah. And in fact, Ty didn't want her to be a prostitute, correct?
According to Ms. Wuornos, Ty gave her mixed messages. On the one hand,
It's pretty
she
long.
would have preferred her not to be involved with men in any capacity. At the same time, she reinforced
Yeah, it's
Ms.
been
Wuornos
crazy
for bringing
with her.
home the money from
Feels like
her
everything's
prostitution.
switched up on us.
She helped her spend the money.
She used the money, yes.
Okay. And they were both working, both were contributing,
Yes.
but Ms. Wuornos brought home a lot more money because she worked a different type of job.
I'm not sure it's a lot more money, but it was more, and it was more variable.
Well, did you know Ty Moore was primarily a house cleaner at motels, things like that?
What I'm saying is overall it was more money, certainly.
Are you aware that Ty Moore did menial type labor,
Yes,
probably in the $100 to $300 range at best a week?
probably, yes.
And you aware that Aileen Wuornos, by her own testimony, made $600,000, $800,000 a week prostituting?
800,000 a week?
No, 600, 800, maybe 1,000 a week
Oh, okay.
prostituting.
Yes.
You aware of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard that too at first. I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm gonna start sucking some dick. Fuck, 800,000 a week? Fuck. Alright. I'm gonna start carrying a weapon, I'll be in the same position, cause let's go! That's my new profession, baby!
Capable apparently and was making $30,000 to $50,000 a year tax-free, wasn't she?
Hell, I work a couple months,
So she
I'll be
was
ready to
breadwinner, so
go.
to speak.
How many dicks I gotta suck?
But Ty continued to work at her jobs, right?
Correct.
Now, it's a common pattern of Ms. Wuornos to blame others for her acts, isn't it?
I'm not aware of her tendency to blame others for her acts.
All right, well, she didn't-
She justifies her acts, but I'm not sure she totally blames other people.
Well, she justified the robbery